Hey, welcome, everybody. It's Them Boys Watch Footy. Hope everybody has really been taking in spring right now. It is starting to destroy my allergies. So if sound a little stuffy, people, please bear with it. But we got our boy PJ here. How's it going?
I'm chilling, man. I was just watching a an interesting podcast with Alexi Lawless and this guy, Tactical Manager. This guy is like he's one of the biggest YouTubers on U.S. men's national team. Tactical Manager. He works with that guy though. Yeah,
Okay.
check it out. It's one of the like 17 U.S. men's national team podcasts I follow. But there was some interesting stuff, so maybe we can dive into it later.
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah, how you doing?
Really good weekend. We got to watch a lot of footy. Got to go see the movie Sinners. I really recommend that. I know this is not a movie podcast, but
It could be.
that thing was amazing. One of the greatest. But there was a lot of football this weekend. A lot of things happened all across Europe, across the United States. We actually saw some MLS things go down. Got my Colorado Rapids out in support because they are starting to fly high again. Really loving that.
Zach
But
Steffen. Yeah.
tech stuff, oh my god. But where we want to first start off is Liverpool. They just won the English Premier League, crown champions with a few matches to go, around four matches to go. They dismantled Tottenham.
Oof.
Tottenham went up first, and then it was just Liverpool dominance right after that. It was kind of insane. But really glad that they got that out the way. Seeing the before where Klopp said, "Hey, I'm stepping down. You guys should really get behind this manager, Arne Slot," and he's singing to the crowd at Anfield. And then a year later, he does the exact same thing for Klopp, only saying like, "Hey, without your players, I would not have won this trophy," which is amazing to see. Like that camaraderie as a coach. Liverpool really talks about a family atmosphere. Everybody that's been a part of their club culture is kind of family. I'm happy for him. I mean, it's sad as an Arsenal fan, but it is what it is at this point.
Surprised to hear some praise from you as an Arsenal fan. Is that they were, I guess, kind of the only team that like really sort of had a chance, but not really. I mean, Liverpool won the league by 15 points. They had a dominant year. How do you feel about that from the Arsenal perspective?
Well, Arsenal, they went into the season very bare bones, 22 out of the 26 spaces. Also knowing that we didn't have a striker, but as well, we didn't have adequate backup for our best players. If you look at when Saka went down, he was down for about 3 to 4 months. We lost Gabriel Jesus. He was down. He's down for the rest of the season since January. Kai Havertz, he's been down since January, February. And now we were missing Martin Odegaard, and we couldn't throw Ethan Nwaneri into the fire. So yeah, we can rue how much we didn't get this year, but we can also talk about the positives that Arsenal were able to do and accomplish this year. We're still in the UCL semifinals this year, even with this depleted squad. And a lot of our kids are starting to play regularly. Miles Lewis Skelly, Ethan. We just have a good chance next year, and it really sucks saying that we're Netflix FC. I really hate that. But it's such a good dig at us because we are always asking for next year. This is our third year in a row
I get it. Yeah, I
that
get
we're
it.
second in the Premier
That's
League.
wild. That's tough.
Yeah, so
But
it's
at
getting
least at
rough.
least you've been competitive.
It's getting rough. I mean, January we really could have went forward if the board and Arteta really thought about moving forward, but it's what it is. Like Liverpool, they didn't lose their dominance. Every time that they slipped up in the league, Arsenal could not capitalize. Arsenal has so many draws this season in the Premier League. It's atrocious. Even this past weekend, the reason why Liverpool were able to just get ahead with a point is because statistically and numerically, Arsenal cannot catch up anymore. The highest that we can go is 79 points.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It is what it is. We are firmly into the. We have 4 matches left. All we have to worry about this year is UCL winning that and moving forward. But Liverpool, I gotta give hats off. Their best player was the best player in the Premier League. Probably not the best within all of Europe or the world, but he did what he needed to do in the Premier League. So
Yeah, I guess as an Arsenal fan, you have other stuff to look forward to, which we can talk about. Yeah, overall, it's an interesting season in the EPL. I mean, you had Forest in there at third for a while. Now they're slotted into sixth. You had powerhouses like Man U and Tottenham have just crap years. Yeah, and overall, it looks like a lot of the big five races seem to be teams have run away, except for in Italy, which is still pretty close. I think Napoli is 3 points from.
Yeah, it's very weird to see how we were just talking about it last week. Inter versus Napoli was my favorite race with all of the title races left within Europe, within the big leagues. And Inter has been on a slide, and for some reason, AC Milan is their bugaboo. Every time they play against them, they've lost this season. They lost in the Coppa Italia semifinal, and every time they lose to AC, they tend to have like another drop off again. So yesterday they lost 1-0 to Roma. They kind of conceded it to Napoli unless Napoli gives it up, but Napoli was pretty firm in how they move forward. So we'll see. They got to be hungry to be able to rectify some of these misses, especially because UCL, their first game, their first matchup is on Wednesday. They got to get their heads on straight, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think overall, like Inter might have the best team, like in terms of 1 through 23, but they're trailing by 3 right now. And you think they could make a run, or does Napoli have it?
As long as if Inter wins out, Napoli wins because they have that 3 point advantage. You gotta hope for a mix up. You gotta hope for a fallback. You never know what happens in football. Hopefully, we do get that third matchup between Napoli and Inter at the very end of the year. I would love to see that, but we'll see what happens. But
Right. Because
yeah,
if they finish with the same amount of points, they have a 1 game playoff. I remember we discussed that. Is that correct?
yeah,
Is that a new thing, or
that is something that's been instituted within Serie A for a little
just in
bit.
Italy?
Yeah, so far I haven't seen that within any of the other leagues because in the Premier League they go to goal differential first before they even try to do a playoff. So
Man, that must be. I'm rooting for that because if I have an Italian team, it's either Fiorentina because I lived in Florence, or maybe
yep,
AC Milan now because they've got a few Americans. But knowing the soccer culture of Italy, if there was a 1 game playoff, I would want to be at that
I
game.
would love to be there.
That would be pretty epic. So as a neutral, I guess that's what I want to see. I imagine you too.
For sure, for sure. That's why it was my favorite race coming up. But a lot of things have changed, but that's football for you, you know. Before we dive in, want to give everybody a special thanks for giving us a listen. We are steadily growing. Keep sending out your likes and subscribes to us on both YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky as well.
Sky.
On there. We also have our Discord channel, Den Boys Watch Footy Discord, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. So I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's been liking and subscribing and giving us a word of mouth, giving us a little bit of love. So I really appreciate that.
Let's go.
Yeah, so where we want to stop off next is in Spain, España, where one of the greatest Copa del Reys I've ever witnessed in New York happened, where Barcelona was able to defeat Real Madrid in a Copa del Rey Clásico, 3-2. This match had so much controversy, so much madness. Where I want to start is just about the very end. So Jules Koundé, French fullback for Barcelona. He scores his goal, making it 3-2. Outmuscled and outpaced everybody on the pitch, even that late into the match. He had the most energy coming up and down, marauding up that right side, and I was able to intercept the pass for Brahim Diaz, and was able to just power a shot home against Courtois, one of the best goalkeepers in the world of football right now. But then right after that, you see Real Madrid start to lose their cool. And something that people had warned about with the UCL final, a quarterfinal, that Arsenal and Real Madrid is because of their pedigree of always winning. They would have been very formidable. And it kind of took the other side of it where they are starting to feel pressure because now they're no longer considered Real Madrid, the greatest show on the pitch. And Antonio Rudiger, he ended up throwing a whole bag of ice at the referee. He threw some, started trying to chase down the referee. Mind you, before the match, there were already refereeing controversies going on. You had Barcelona make a whole commercial or video showing about the referee that was refereeing the match versus Real Madrid and some of the calls that he gave to that. So I guess that kind of fueled into it. But then as well, you saw Real Madrid kind of capitulate, really turn into the little brother of Barcelona. And Barcelona, age-wise, is much younger than Real Madrid. Real Madrid have the pedigree. They have the manager who has seen it all, who has done it all. And they really did not come to play for anything. It got really bad. Antonio Rudiger, Lucas Vasquez, Jude Bellingham. Rudiger and Vasquez are considered club captains or vice captains. Vasquez has worn the armband multiple times outside of a few others, Luka Modric, Valverde to talk about, but those are your leaders and they're doing this. I get it. It's a very passionate game. It's a very passionate sport. You're in the final. I guess the crash out is justified, but it was just really, really crappy to see after a really excellent match.
What exactly happened? Because I saw that there were 3 red cards at the very end for Madrid. Were you able to tell our listeners how that went down? And did you see the game or the highlights?
Yeah, no, watching the game, I was watching the match at Finn's Corner over in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn, and also had no idea that many Barcelona fans. I'm glad that they're all coming out now that they're winning again. Those were some
Yeah.
very, very dark years that they were going through. So
Yeah.
very glad that they can actually wear their Blaugrana with pride again. So it was really fun to kind of just party and analyze the game with fans that are completely different than English Premier League fans. They understand like the pedigree between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and it was really fun to kind of just like get in that tone set, especially before the match. But during that space, Kylian Mbappe was starting to run. He had just broken away, and he made a quick swipe trying to get away, hit a Barcelona player within the face. The Barcelona player flopped. As soon as he flopped, referee said it was a foul and is going back the other way. After that, the entire bench exploded because they felt as though A, that wasn't warranted to be a foul after how the referee was calling the match, and then B, they had no more answers. They couldn't break down Barcelona anymore. Kylian Mbappe, once he came off the bench, he was their chief contributor. I wonder why. I need to understand the dynamic of what Real Madrid are going to try to do next season. Right now, Mbappe, Vinny, something's just not clicking right there. Mbappe, Vinny, and Rodrigo, something's truly not clicking in these big matches. We all thought, like, you get the best striker in the world, you put that with 2 of the best wingers in the world, you're going to have an amazing attack. It is clearly not working that way. Tactically, Ancelotti has not come out with new tactics. He has not changed up whatever formula that he had. I think he's just playing off the vibes now before he goes to Brazil. But yeah, it was just a really, really weird match to see. But they came back against Barcelona. They had the first goal from Mbappe in the 70th minute, and then the second goal almost directly right after by Chouameni in the 77th minute. Ferran Torres, he scored in the 84th after some really bad defending. So you got to see how things could work out, but you got to give credit to Barcelona. Like that squad, spearheaded by Lamine Yamal, 17 years old. It is crazy to see what that kid is doing at 17. He just bleached his hair to look like more of his idol, Neymar, back in his heyday. That was very interesting to see, especially the way that they play is very Joga Bonita, very beautiful. And then as well, Rafinha, he's just the engine that could, just making sure that he's doing the emotional legwork to keep that squad moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid, probably a lot of it was just frustration. I mean, they lost to their rivals in the final, then they got smoked in the Champions League by your team. So yeah, can't be the best year when they lose to in the Copa del Rey. They're behind Barcelona in the standings, and then they get smoked in a quarterfinal of the Champions League, which is generally not the standard for Real Madrid.
Oh, completely agree. I mean, all of this within 2 weeks as well is it's definitely a rough pill to take, but as well, I got to bring it back to what are these captains and vice captains doing? Is this really the standard that they want to set? Because now, next season, you're going to see a lot more teams trying to get under their skin, a lot more people really calling them out about their leadership characteristics. These are the people that you're following. Rudiger, he always had a bad boy streak, both with the German national team and at Chelsea when he was there. Watching that match between Arsenal and Real Madrid, Rudiger got away with a lot of different fouls. The referee called it both ways, but Rudiger had a stamp on an 18-year-old kid. He stepped on the kid's
Oof.
stomach while he fell down, and that wasn't called for a foul at all. You just have Miles Lewis Skelly just rolling around. He looked up because, hey, Studs did get stabbed in his gut, but he was able to play on. So I need to understand what Real Madrid is thinking moving forward, especially if they're losing Carlo Ancelotti at the end of
He's
the
going to
season.
Brazil, right?
Yeah, that's the rumor right now. Brazil is said to really be making a push forward, but I'd be worried as a national team fan of Brazil. Like you're getting Carlo Ancelotti, he hasn't really been putting tactical masterclasses together for the last. Like he's starting to get outcoached in some of these matches, so I'd be very worried about that. But he does make his magic wherever he's known. I mean, he was even the manager of Everton and had a squad ready and prepared to play with them. He also when he first came to the Premier League with Chelsea. He won a Premier League his first year with them. So we'll see kind of how things kind of push forward. But I'm a little worried about Real Madrid's future, but I'm also worried about Brazil's future under Carlo Ancelotti if they are to move forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll see. I mean, Brazil's struggling kind of right now, so we'll see if he can help them turn around.
For sure, for sure. And then next, talking about other races within club football within Europe, actually lost on Sunday 1-0 to Roma. And this is a particularly hard blow because of how the Serie A chase for the title is going. Right now, Inter and Napoli had been tied on both goal differential and points at 71. With Inter's loss and Napoli winning, Napoli is now up 74 to 71 with a couple matches remaining. So kind of worried about how this is going to really play out for Inter. They have, let's see, 4 matches left until the end of the league, and they now have to hope that Napoli messes up within these next 4 matches as well. I just said as well 4 times.
You're good.
Yeah. Inter also have to be within the Champions League matches against Barcelona, so that is going to take a lot out of them as well. So I'm very worried about this Inter team, especially post match losing to AC Milan, which has been by all standards really bad this season in the Coppa Italia, and every time they lose to Milan, it's kind of a snowball effect that messes up their entire week. So, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad at least my guys, my U.S. guys over at AC Milan can do something right. It seems that beating Inter is the only thing that they were good at this season because they've had a really crappy year. But it should be an interesting final towards the end. It looks like Napoli has a fairly easy schedule going forward, so they could end up just taking it all. But if they slip up once, Inter's going to have to win the rest of their games. And outside of that, I wonder how if AC Milan will bounce back next season because I think that they won yesterday. I think Pulisic had a goal, but they're still in 9th or 8th place, so not good for a team that's spending top 3 money in the league.
No, completely agree there. Conte has been consistently saying like he can't win here, he can't do this. He's trying to draw out as much as possible out of that Napoli squad because Conte, wherever he goes, he usually wins. The only place he couldn't do it was Tottenham. And the players that he has under his leadership right now, kind of spearheaded by Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah.
We'll see how this moves forward, especially because uh, I'm very worried about Inter, how they feel their standards are under Filippo Inzaghi. He's been a really great coach for them. He's gotten them to a UCL final in the previous years. Even though they lost to Manchester City, he still got them to a final. He's won the Serie A a few times as well. So I hope that they don't do anything rash because that squad under him plays some really great football.
I'm always checking the Serie A stats to see how Christian Pulisic is doing because I'm a huge fan, and so I see Lukaku's name at the top. He's actually leading the league in assists as essentially a target forward, like a kind of a true striker. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you got to do some weird layoffs and everything. The thing that I'm seeing at Napoli right now is Scott McTominay. It's crazy to see him go from Manchester United and instantly have an impact in Serie A, but that's sometimes how it goes. You get some good players here and there, and you got yourself a stew, as they say on my favorite show, Arrested Development. You got some things just really moving forward with Napoli. I'm excited to kind of see where that squad leaves off for next season because they have to do a rebuild. Osimhen, the great Nigerian striker, he's at Galatasaray because Conte said that he wasn't going to play for under his leadership. He really loves Lukaku and he kept his word. And Osimhen, he went over to Galatasaray and is currently looking for a new club. So once they're able to get rid of him, get in some new money, some more recruits, we'll kind of see how he shapes the squad in his image. But Conte always burns really hot and then he dips out around like year 3, year 4. So
Mm.
we'll see how this continues to stay moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you all again for giving Dead Boys Watch Footy a listen, wherever you're listening from. Want to start now talking about our main subject for today. We are going to be talking about the Champions League semifinals. We're going to give you a nice little preview, our predictions for the two for this first leg, seeing as though the next matches are next week. So we'll start it off first with my favorite team, Arsenal Football Club versus Paris Saint-Germain. You have PSG versus Arsenal. PSG lost to Arsenal early in the season in the Champions League 2-0. But those two games, those two clubs were in a very different predicaments at the time. PSG did not have Kvaratskhelia. They didn't have Desiree Doué, new up-and-coming French winger who's giving a lot of love also to Neymar as well, that Jogo Bonita style. And Arsenal at the time had all of their attacking pieces moving forward, and they had all of their defenders in the back. And so these are two vastly different squads, and they're on a collision course to be able to have one of the two spots in the final. So PJ, I'll start with you. What are you looking for in this match? What are you looking to see?
Well, I think my prediction is important because I think we know what your prediction is going to be. So,
I don't know about that. I'm still level-headed, but yeah.
are you?
No, it's Arsenal all day.
I don't think you would ever go against them. Arsenal's playing really well, specifically in the Champions League. They've won they're unbeaten in their last 8 with 7 wins and 1 draw. PSG's kind of had a little more lukewarm overall in the Champions League. So at least in this game, I think Arsenal is definitely favored. PSG has struggled a little bit going away against English clubs. So I think Arsenal definitely has the advantage in this game. Overall, in this, I actually think I might give the edge to Arsenal a little bit just because of the form they're in. Again, PSG is so hard to tell because they're killing it domestically, but the French league is kind of basura.
The Farmers League, as people say, but I don't know. All of these good players come from this league, so I don't know.
But a lot of them don't stay.
They can't stay. I mean, we just did an episode about how the French football, how they're having a hard time keeping talent, as well as a lot of their money is now kind of being diluted in other places. So
yeah, that's a good point. So again, it's going to be tough. I mean, these are the things that give these opportunities give PSG a barometer to see how good they are. I'm not saying this because you're here, but I think I give the slight edge to Arsenal, but this thing definitely could go either way because PSG, even though the players that they've lost are still a pretty stacked team.
no, I agree with you. I mean, I'm always going to look at that front line of Dembele, Doué, and Ramos, or if they kind of do an alteration of Dembele, Doué, Kvaratskhelia, or you bring Barcola into the mix, like that front line is just very formidable. We saw in the Aston Villa matchup how fast and how quick those breaks are, that deadly counterattack that they have. And they play a little bit of tiki-taka as well, coming from Luis Enrique. His pedigree as the former Barcelona manager and kind of shepherding the young guns. My real battles are going to be on the wings with the defenders Miles Lewis-Skelly and Urian Timber versus Doué, Kvaratskhelia, and Dembele. Whoever wins on those wings is really going to dictate how this match is going to be played. Arsenal, their defense is their strong suit. But because of the injuries, not having Gabriel back there, it is going to be something to be on the lookout for, as it is going to be very hard for people to really push forward in these tight spaces, especially because Arsenal love to play in the middle of the pitch. They love to bring everything very direct and through the middle. They go out onto the wings in that final attacking third, but really where their bread and butter is having Miles Lewis-Skelly kind of tuck in as a auxiliary midfielder alongside Declan Rice. We also have to see what Arsenal are going to do now that they've lost Thomas Partey for this first matchup. But I'm really looking for the midfield battle. Arsenal's midfield, they're just bigger physically than PSG. João Neves, Vitinha, they're smaller midfielders. It's going to be very difficult for their midfield to kind of stack against them. But Arsenal, where they really can get their gilt-edged chances, set pieces. You get a corner here, you get a Declan Rice free kick.
Not Dennis Rodman, Declan Rice.
Yeah, you got to get the rice and peas, sir. The rice and peas.
The rice and peas, mate. Man, I feel like we're going to gas Arsenal up and they're going to lose, but they're just in such good form in the knockout rounds of the Champions League. They are on aggregate 14 goals, averaging almost 4 goals a game and surrendering only 4, smashing PSV in the round of 16, 9-3 on aggregate, and
Yep,
smashing Real Madrid
5-1.
5-1. So they're in tremendous form. I mean, again, injuries can play a role. A lot of things can change, but they're looking like they have a very good chance to get to the final.
Yeah, yeah. Just gotta hope that Saliba, David Raya, they can keep out the mistakes, especially because last week against Crystal Palace, Saliba gave away a really bad interception, and Crystal Palace forward John Mateta, that guy, he's going to be on the lookout for a lot of clubs in Europe this upcoming transfer window. He's just a very good striker. He actually pushed them forward, Crystal Palace, within the FA Cup. They're in the FA Cup final right now against Manchester City. He was able to really make a big difference against Arsenal. So we'll see. Like I said, that forward line, just making sure that you cut down the mistakes, you get some set piece wins. It'll come out to be a really good thing for this first semifinal leg. I'm going to give the edge to Arsenal, obviously. I'm going to say 3-2 in this first semifinal leg. I feel as though PSG is going to get some very weird and wonky counterattacks. But Arsenal is going to be able to find a way, especially at home, to score 3 goals upcoming for this Champions League match. What about you?
What about going into? I thought you would go, because Arsenal's in such good form, that they would win by more, because going into Paris up only a goal sounds a little daunting. I was going to say
daunting, but
3-1 Arsenal or something.
Nah, I would love to, but I'm also being realistic with teams that are very quick on the counterattack, and PSG's counterattack is so good. It's very hard to keep them at bay. If we stifle in the midfield, that's the real battle. And battle in the wings with Jurrien Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly, Arsenal have the strongest chance to move forward. But right now, I'm very worried about that.
Well, then that would be tough. Only up a goal going into Paris, I think. Certainly not, because you remember against Madrid, they held their own, going to Spain.
But that was also because they knew they had 3 goals to none. Yeah. So you could play a very defensive match. Like, you have to open up a little bit with that close of an aggregate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as an Arsenal fan, you want more, but we'll see.
Completely agree. With our next match, we have the tale of two halves. You have Barcelona versus Inter. Barcelona, as we just said, they just defeated Real Madrid to win their first trophy of the season, the Copa del Rey. And then Inter, they've just crashed out of the Coppa Italia to AC Milan, and they've just lost ground in the Serie A title chase. So this is a really big chance to actually get silverware this year, you actually being able to control. What are your thoughts, PJ, on this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a good one. They're both the respectively dominant teams in their leagues this year. Again, I think we talked about this last time. No real Cinderella stories in the Champions League at the moment. I mean, these teams have been very solid domestically. Inter a little bit behind, but they've just the last couple of years, Inter has really been dominant in Italy. I mean, Barcelona, like you said, after their kind of rough post-Messi spell, they're playing really well right now, and they're averaging over 3 goals a game with Hansi Flick in the Champions League. I probably give the slight edge to Barcelona. What about you?
I completely agree with you there. I mean, Hansi Flick, that high line, how they play tactically, just Pedri and Gavi in the middle, that they, even though they're small, they are very hungry to always win back the ball. Inter, with their very interesting press where they move back their center midfielders to be essentially their defenders, and then their defenders go up to attack from the midfield. It's a very interesting way to watch how they play. It's a throwback to an older generation style of game. Inter also play with 2 strikers in Thuram as well as Lautaro Martinez. So I will be very interested to see how Barcelona kind of stifled that attack. Right now, Lewandowski is injured for Barcelona, which is a really big blow to them.
That's tough.
Yeah, he's a talisman for their squad. He's been really good the entire season of both holding up play as well as making sure that his wingers Rafinha and Lamine Yamal they are able to attack and get into their spaces. So it's all right. Also, their formation, their team just knows how to get into the right space. So I'm not truly too worried about it. But if you could say Torres or Lewandowski, I'm very sure a lot of our Barcelona friends, Fernie included, would be like, no, we definitely have to have Lewandowski for this match. But I can see this becoming a very slowed down, slow paced match. That's what Inter want.
That's what they're going to want.
That's what they're going to try to dictate with this match. Inter, watching that match against Bayern Munich, even though they went down early in that return leg, they didn't falter, they didn't waver. They just kept moving forward, and they were able to pull out the win. So I'm thinking I'm thinking a 2-2 match in the Camp Nou. I don't know why. I'm having this weird flashback to when Jose Mourinho was with Inter and he was stifling the greatest team ever in Barcelona, and he ran out into the pitch with his finger up.
Yes. When was that? Like at least 10 years ago?
Yeah, that was at least 10. But
Inter they were not like a super like dominant team that year, so that was like an upset when they won the Champions League.
No, that was the year that they won they won the treble, but everybody counted that squad out because that Barcelona team
that Barcelona team was just so stacked.
It was so good. That Barcelona team was so good. But that was the year that it was a switch between Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Samuel Eto'o. They made the swap from Eto'o went to Inter while Ibrahimovic went to Barcelona, and Eto'o became the only African player to win a Champions League final with two separate squads. So we'll see, but I'm calling for the 2-2 draw in the Camp Nou. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I have to give it to Barcelona. I mean, I think they're in better form. I mean, Inter's dropped a couple games. I think they can keep it competitive. They kind of play that tight Italian style, that kind of stubbornness that you see with the Italian national team. But I think Barcelona has to be favored. Without Lewandowski, it might be tough, but I still give them a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, completely agree. I definitely want to hear from our listeners, any of our subscribers. Please let us know what your thoughts are on these first legs coming up this week. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. All right, for our final talks today from Dem Boys Watch Footy, Wrexham United, team owned. It's crazy to say, but Wrexham just got promoted their third time in 3 years.
Oh my God.
They are now into the Championship, which is England's second division under the Premier League. They've come a long way from that squad, but they've done it the right way. They've done it through very smart and savvy buyings, but also they didn't overload their squad, and they made sure that the community was abreast all apart the way. They expanded more space within the stadium. We see all of the additional media support that they're getting. We're seeing a lot of personalities, both American as well as abroad, coming to join them for matches to watch. I think even some of the royal family even went up to Wales to watch a few of their matches. So it's very interesting to see how two American owners, well, not American. Rob is from Philly, but you got Mr.
Ryan Reynolds, right?
Mr. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds himself. Yeah, he's a business savvy man.
That's my dream, man. I want to own a team now. Damn. It's super impressive, even with the money. I mean, they're the first team in the history of English football to have 3 consecutive promotions. So we'll see how they do in the Championship. I feel like there's a pretty significant jump from League One to the Championship.
Yeah.
The Championship is even considered some would say a top 10 league in the world, but damn, I mean, that's literally out of the movies. Good for them. I guess I'm kind of rooting for them because they have this American presence. I mean, if they made it to the Premier League, that would be
4 out of 4?
Redonkulous.
Yeah, 4 out of 4. That would be insane.
That would be ridiculous. Do you think there's a chance that could happen?
I mean, anything is possible. If they get their buys right and they make sure that all of their players stay healthy, anything is possible in this world. I mean, they still go into the FA Cup. They go into the Carabao Cup. We'll never know. But what I'm seeing with their squad
we'll know next year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that squad is very close-knit. A lot of the guys were down there in the dregs, and they've come up, and they keep killing it.
Yeah, they were in the 5th division at one point, right?
Yeah, and right now, them keep going up. Their stadium's gotten larger. Anything is possible within world football. I mean, you could see how Nottingham Forest, when they first went back down, and they decided to break all the financial fair play rules, they came back up, even though they got fined. They were able to stay up, and now they are, even though they were 3rd previously, and they just lost to Manchester City in the FA Cup final, for a long time and large parts of this season, they were competing for a Champions League spot. So
Yep.
anything is possible if you have the right business owners and you have the right sporting directors, sporting operators directing how you do the buys within today's modern market. So very much kudos to them, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list to attend one of their games. I mean, they would probably be one of the smaller clubs if they ever made it to the Premier League. One of the smaller clubs in terms of like even like let's say attendance. I mean, they only have a capacity of 13,000, so that would be crazy. You know, and what I imagine is like a somewhat small town just to have Manchester City and Manchester United coming to the small English town every week would be pretty epic. So we'll see how they do in the championship. Again, the championship's is a pretty solid league.
No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, but that championship is going to be a battle. You got 3 teams coming down from the Premier League. We definitely know that Ipswich is going down. We definitely know that
Tottenham might
Southampton
have a chance to go down, right? Where
they, as much as I would love it, they're firmly in 16th right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then Southampton is the last squad that's going down. So we'll see what happens with all of those teams going down and these new squads coming up.
Yeah,
All right.
I think I just have a little boner for the championship because so many Americans have played in there.
Very true. Yeah, might have more American players going over to Wales to play for that squad as well now. They got more money, more access to freedom, player freedom. You never know what happens. And then as well, final thing to talk about is the Club World Cup. They just released their 63 game tournament. The top 2 teams from each group will qualify for the knockout phase. And then the final concludes at New York, New Jersey MetLife Stadium on July 13th, where there's a new FIFA Club World Cup trophy. So just quickly going through the groups, and then PJ, you give me who's going to win. All right, Group A have Palmeiras from Brazil, Porto from Portugal, Al Alawi.
Yeah, I think they say.
Yeah. From Egypt, Inter Miami from the U.S. Who do you think is winning that group?
Oh man, so from the U.S. perspective, this is like a reasonable group for Inter Miami compared to the group that the Sounders have. I mean,
yeah.
First of all, this is the first expanded Club World Cup, right? So
yep.
Super exciting. I thought we were going to have like a whole segment on this another time, but we're diving into it. Let's go. I'm biased, so I'm going to say Miami is going to get through with Porto. Palmeiras is one of the best teams in South America, so they're going to be tough. And Auli beat the Sounders, I think, in the last Club World Cup. But we're going to go Porto and Inter Miami. I'm going to be a little biased here, but they also have Messi. So
yeah, very true. Messi's going to get some calls no matter what, so I see it. Yeah, I'll also go Porto, Inter Miami for that group stage as well.
Right, one MLS.
Yeah, we're going to do an expanded one on this after the season, but now that it's fresh, let's get these out the way.
Okay.
All right, Group B: Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo from Brazil, and Seattle Sounders. Who do you got?
Man, are we doing swearing or not? And this, I don't know.
Yeah.
We can swear. Man, the Sounders are fucked, bro. I was watching an interview with Jordan Morris. He was on one of the Retired Players podcasts earlier this morning, and he's like, they're super excited. And they might have a tiny chance just because they've already done this before.
Yeah.
They're the first MLS team to ever go to the Club World Cup, but that group is ass. I mean, Botafogo is a good team too.
Yeah.
One of the best teams in Brazil over the last decade. So probably PSG and Madrid, but there's
not probably. It'll definitely happen that way.
There's a chance though. The Brazilian teams are always sneaky in this tournament though. On
That's
paper,
true.
Yeah, but maybe Botafogo takes it more seriously because it's a big tournament for them, whereas the other teams have Champions League to play for. On paper, those are the teams, but Botafogo's got a chance. The Sounders, man, it sucks. I like Seattle too. Like I spent time there growing up, but I don't think they have a chance.
I don't think Seattle has a chance in this one. It's really sad to say.
Do you agree with me, or?
Yeah, I'll completely agree with you. They're screwed. Like I don't understand why there's so many European squads within this. I know that you're trying to juice up the numbers, but come on, like Atletico and Real, like that just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
But Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico, I'm going with that. I'll say Atletico is going to top the group because I think Paris.
We'll see what they do, but you're probably right.
Okay. All right. Group C: Bayern Munich, Auckland City FC, Boca Juniors, and Benfica. I'm going to start this one. I'm going to go with a Bayern Munich and Boca Juniors.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern Munich, I think the obvious thing is Bayern's 1, Auckland City's 4. 2 and 3 is interesting. On paper, Benfica might be better, but Boca Juniors. I've been to that stadium.
Hey,
The Argentine passion is there. So maybe I'll go Boca Juniors because South American teams tend to do decent in this tournament.
completely agree with you there. I'm going Bayern solely because even their kids are really good. Bayern might lose some players over the summer as well due to the transfer window being open a little bit early because of the Club World Cup. But I feel as though Bayern, their players are strong enough, are going to be good enough to be able to withstand everything that this team, this league of group is going to go with. Auckland City, I just watched a whole video about how some of their players still have to go to work. They were so happy to be called for this tournament, and so their manager is like down at he's at a mill somewhere, and some of the lads there they have like other jobs because football can't fund their entire life like these other teams can. But it's a really cool story to see, and I believe that's the whole spirit of the Club World Cup, especially why it's expanded. So, but yeah, I'm going Bayern, I'm going Boca. I like Benfica.
Oh, you're with me.
Yeah, yeah. I said that first. I was going Bayern and Boca. Benfica
Okay.
is really good, but Boca seems, especially like how the passion is there now. I feel as though the Argentinians that are in the U.S. are going to go to some of their matches and try to create that atmosphere for them as well.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, Group D. We have Flamengo. We have Sportive de Tunis from Tunisia. We have Chelsea, and we have Club Leon from Mexico. I'm going to go with.
Is that confirmed? Leon is the fourth team.
Yep, on the website now for them, it is Club Leon. I'm going with Chelsea and Flamengo for this one. What about you?
Yeah, it sounds kind of cliche. Chelsea's got too much firepower. They had kind of somewhat of a bounce back season, at least compared to the crap that they had the last couple of years. And Flamengo is the most successful team in Brazil in this century.
Yep.
They were in the final a couple of years ago. They're a really strong side traditionally. Espérance de Tunis. I don't know a lot about them, but I can't imagine a Tunisian league team is at the level of these teams just in terms of the financial spending.
Yeah.
Tunisia has a decent national team, but a lot of those players are in France. So we're going to go, I'm with you, Flamengo and Chelsea.
All right. Group E, River Plate. We have the Urara Red Diamonds from Japan. Okay, Japanese squad. Monterrey, really love them. And Inter Milan. I am going to go. I don't know why, but I feel as though it'll be Inter Milan, and I feel for some reason the Red Diamonds are going to surprise a lot of people. And I know, friend of the show, Aldana, she's going to probably kill me, not giving her River Plate some love.
She's a River fan?
Yeah, but we'll see.
Interesting. Okay. But what did you say? Did you say at the beginning you were like Monterey or something? Or what did you say?
I love Monterrey. I love that
As a city or the team?
As a city. Yeah, it's awesome. But
You're a Monterey fan.
Yeah, no,
Like
my first experience ever with Mexican football was the Colorado Rapids versus Monterrey in the CONCACAF Champions League.
When you worked for MLS.
Yeah, and they're really cool except for when their fans are throwing pee in batteries. But
that's not cool.
Yeah, it's not cool.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I initially was going to say Inter and River. I want to hear why you think the Red Diamonds, who I don't know too much about, why you think they have a chance. But because this is going to be played in the United States and Mexico, I just thought of this. The Mexican fans show out really hardcore. I am actually going to go Inter and Monterrey based off of that. I don't know if they travel like America fans will.
Yeah.
But, when you see U.S.-Mexico games in the U.S., the crowd is not Americans, so
very true.
We'll see. But I think Monterrey has a chance based on home field advantage.
Yeah, well, it depends. Yeah, completely agree. I also agree with your assessment about Inter. Like, everybody that's a European team, the spending power that they have over all of these other clubs is going to be very difficult to kind of get over. The Red Diamonds, I'm gonna say this: every time I've watched any Japanese football, either be the World Cup or the Club World Cups or any of the exhibition matches, Japan comes to play. Like, a lot of their better players are starting to migrate towards Europe. But their squads are really good over there. Technically sound, they're quick, and they are very drilled in the defensive space. They're not as physically strong as some of these other teams, but the Japanese players, especially on the national team, they always shout in these bigger tournaments. And I feel as though they'll get one sneaky win, either against Monterrey or River Plate, and all they have to do is draw the rest of the matches and they move forward. And that's why I'm saying that that's my like sneaky pick for Group E.
That seems like a really competitive group.
Yeah. Agreed there. So Group F, we have Fluminense from Brazil, a lot of Brazilian squads. Borussia Dortmund, Ulsan, and the Sundowns FC from South Africa. I'm very glad for them. Let's go with Fluminense and Dortmund. Fluminense, because I know that squad has been in a lot of these tournaments as well.
Oh, yeah.
They're very battle tested in Copa Libertadores. So I feel as though that they're really good. Even though Dortmund is down right now, I still feel as though that they're really strong compared to the Korean squad Ulsan and the Sundowns FC from South Africa. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Dortmund is not having the best year, but this is maybe one of the weaker groups. And Fluminense, they made it to the finals in the last Club World Cup, so they have
Marcelo.
Yeah. Oh, he's still playing?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Wow. Okay. So they have the experience, and Dortmund's in bad form, but I don't know if Ulsan HD or Mamelodi, the Sundowns. I was in South Africa for a little bit. I wanted to go to Orlando Pirates game. I don't know a lot about the Sundowns, but I can't imagine that they could compete with these bigger teams.
I also wanted to go to the Orlando Pirates match when I was in South Africa.
Yeah. The fact that I was in South Africa for a month and I'm a football fan and I haven't heard of this team, then I'm like, okay, I don't know if they have a chance. But you never know. That's why it's exciting.
Yeah, that's why it's pretty exciting. So I feel you there. Group G, Manchester City, Wydad AC. We have El Ain FC from the UAE and Juventus FC from Italy. I'll just go with the full stop Manchester City, Juventus after that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, a lot of these UAA teams have, big budgets and big spending, but I don't see a lot of firepower on that team compared to the team like Ronaldo plays for and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go agree with you.
All right. And then our last group, we have Group H, Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Pachuca, and FC Salzburg from Austria. I will go with Real Madrid and Al Hilal for this one. Al Hilal has constantly defeated Ronaldo's squad in the Saudi League, and they have a lot of stars. And this is probably their biggest chance to really show to other players that they mean business when they're playing. And so, especially the fact that they're going against Real Madrid, they're probably not going to beat Real Madrid. But I feel as though the caliber of players from European squads that have come over to play for Al Hilal, and their team always beats Ronaldo's squad over there, I'm just going to have to say Al Hilal is going to have to... There's no way that they're not going to try to pull second for this group.
Yeah, I see your point. I mean, they still have some stars there, and Joao Cancelo and Koulibaly from Senegal. But with the same logic as Monterrey, I think having the home field advantage will play a role because Mexican fans, as we talk about, they go ham. So I'm gonna have to go with Pachuca as the second team in there.
Well, okay. All right. Well, that was a very quick analysis from us for the Club World Cup 2025. We'd love to hear what you guys think. From Them Boys Watch Footy, it's your boy E, it's PJ. Thank you all again for listening. Have a great one.
Ciao.